thanks a ton for being willing to come over here.
Thank
Dude,
you so much.
And I really apologize for all the technical difficulties. We actually used to have Daren sitting here, so for those of you who are watching and you're like, hey, where's Daren? Daren was here, but Daren had to go. Dude, he's golfing, right?
He says he's not, but I literally have never seen him wear shorts unless he is.
Dude, he's 100% going golfing. There's no way he's not going golfing.
I want to trust him because I believe in the guy, you know? So he says no, I think no, but
this is going to be
in the back of my mind.
This is how I'm going to know whether or not he actually watches the Big Access podcast, is if he comes to me and says, I was not golfing. So Dalen's going golfing because you're right. He only wears shorts when he goes golfing.
So no defense is the offense.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Exactly. Welcome on in, everybody, to the Big Access podcast. We are here today with a special guest. We've got Daren and Marshall. Marshall, as you guys know, is our regional sales director over the Mountain West territory. He's been on a couple of episodes with us before in the past, and we're very excited to have Marshall back in here. And then we've got Daren. Daren is you're the sales director over at Peak Alarm, right?
Sales manager of the Salt Lake City branch.
Yeah,
yes.
There you go. That's awesome. So thank you a ton for taking the time and the
me.
super long drive over here to come and jump on
20 minutes of it.
Yeah. Well, we're really excited to have you here today. We're going to be talking all about recurring revenue, and so I'm really excited to kind of get that topic out there.
Perfect.
But I don't know if you guys know this, but I just barely learned this. It's really random, and I don't know why I'm even bringing it up. The word recurring just triggered the gestation period of horses that we were just talking about, and the fact that you are getting your horses, you're getting her up for breeding again. Mm-hmm. And she just barely had a foal, right?
Yep.
And so she's reoccurringly generating you more. That's where my brain went with this whole thing.
That is the
weirdest thing
ever.
But kind of that's how we got there. So I had to explain
fault.
that.
I brought it up earlier.
You did, right? And Dalen was actually here for that whole process. But Marshall has recently gotten into the breeding horses gig.
Yeah, it's been a while, actually, like 3 years. But
yeah. So are you like selling the horses that you're breeding, or are you keeping them?
Right now, I'm keeping them.
Okay.
Keeping them until I find out if they're worth keeping or not.
You're building your, what do they call it? A
Remuda.
Herd? It's called a Remuda?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I was thinking, is it herd? Is it harem? Is it
A hare.
A herd, I mean, a group of horses would be a herd, yeah, but like one that I pull from for like to ride and work from, whatever, a Remuda.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, that's pretty freaking cool.
Mm-hmm.
Marshall, as you guys probably just got, is really into horses.
Marshall
has a pony that my kids still talk about to this day, about the time that they got to ride Penny, the one-eyed pony.
Penny, the one-eyed pony. That's right.
You ever heard about Penny, the one-eyed pony?
I have not heard of Penny. This is interesting.
This is a big deal.
This is news.
Yeah. She's like almost 20 years old. She is blind in one eye, but she's the best little kid's horse ever.
Oh,
Wow.
ever.
Yeah.
Dude, my daughter got on that thing, and it was just like gone.
Yep.
My daughter had never ridden a horse in her life, and Penny made it so easy that my daughter's just like gone and easy control. And it got to the point where we were like, do we even need to worry about it? And Marshall's like, no, Penny's got this.
Yep.
And now she wants her own.
And I've told her plenty of times, we'll just go to Marshall's.
Yeah,
There you go. Or whatever.
Yeah. So pretty cool. Marshall is also the guy who I text during a rodeo, so I can actually get an idea of what's going on at a rodeo. So like legit, I was at the Harriman Rodeo the other night, and I'm texting Marshall. I'm like, "Is this a good score?
Is this normal?"
Yeah. So that was a good time though.
Yeah.
How many rodeos do you go to a year?
Honestly, like actual rodeos themselves, we usually go to 2. We'll hit the Preston and Oakley. Are the ones we like to go to. I compete in team roping though, so it's not a real rodeo.
Wait, you like actually compete?
Mm-hmm.
Like I knew you did it, and like you went out and rode and wrangled cattle all the time. I didn't know you actually competed though.
Yeah, I mean in ropings, like it's very much like golf where there's a handicap system.
Yeah, okay.
Right, so you're what would be the guys on the PGA Tour, right? Less than scratch golfers. They would be your PRCA cowboys, like the guys in rodeos. But then you've got, these different ropings that you can go to. You pay money, you win a jackpot. So they call them jackpot ropings. And handicap system, much like that. So you can compete with guys that are kind of at the same level as you and go win some money. So
wild, dude.
Yeah, I won.
So like, what would you say
2
your
months ago?
handicap is?
I'm a not. in between. I'm like a 4.5 roper right now, which is not great.
I was gonna say, how does that equate to a
So that would be like a
golf handicap?
That'd probably be like a 12 handicap golfer.
And now, what is your golf handicap?
Honestly, I don't even know.
He's
Probably
good.
He's good.
Yeah.
I hear
Yeah,
really
he's
good things
good.
about Marshall and his
Yeah.
golf game.
It depends on the day.
Yeah.
If I was a 12 handicap, I would be excited about it.
Golf is one of those things that like I really enjoy it when I'm out there, but man, how do you guys get the time to golf?
That's the hard part for me.
That is where I'm like I've got so many other hobbies that I like to do. Like I love riding my dirt bike. I love getting out and hunting. I love going hiking, and it's just like I'd love to golf, but then all my other hobbies go to the wayside. So
True.
I have to pick and choose, I guess.
Yeah.
Very true.
So, well, anyways,
Tangent over.
that was that's today's one of probably many rabbit holes we'll go down. Usually, we get down a lot of rabbit holes, but that's okay. It makes for some good content here. But ultimately, Daren, why don't you tell us a little bit about who Peak Alarm is, what you guys are all about?
Okay. Well, so Peak Alarm is a supplier of security and life safety products and services here in Salt Lake City and throughout the Intermountain West. We have, 5 branches. We have, moving from south to north, we have St. George, Utah. We have Montrose, Colorado. We have Salt Lake City, which is our headquarters. And we have Boise, Idaho, and we have Idaho Falls. And then I forgot Ogden, but Ogden's right there in the middle, too. So, So Peak Alarm was started in 1969 by our founder, Jerry Howe, and his wife, Gail. Jerry was living in California in 1969, and he moved to Utah, and he bought a list of 130 customers from a guy, and it was day and night security. And that list of customers also came with 2 Volkswagen vans. And so Jerry began immediately calling on those 130 customers and just proceeded from there. And so we've been growing by leaps and bounds over the last 55 years. And now we have over 350 employees.
Nice.
We have, like I said, 5 branches, 5 locations, and we cover about 6 states right now. And we're just continuing to move forward.
That's impressive. Yeah, you guys are definitely a big operation.
We are, yeah. And the nice thing about it, too, is that we have our own central station. We don't have to put that off-site, and we have the ability to it's a 5-diamond UL certified central station. We have response times of less than 10 seconds on the norm. And Brach would correct me on that. It'd probably be closer to 5 or less. They're fast.
Still,
They're super fast.
Still, that's really pretty dang impressive.
Yeah, and we pride ourselves on that. We pride ourselves on immediate communication. We also pride ourselves on the fact that we have a security division that has patrol guards and such that if in the event of an alarm, we can actually dispatch the patrol or the guard to the situation and have them take a look at what's going on and be right there in front of what needs to happen until the police get there.
Yeah.
We call it our alarm response, and that puts us apart from a lot of our competition in the area. So yeah, we in addition to life safety and security, we also install surveillance camera systems, and we've also got into access control, and that's where PDK sits in. So
Well, fancy that.
yeah, we're very happy with PDK. Let's put it that way.
That's good. I mean, ultimately, you guys are a platinum dealer with PDK. We love our relationship that we have with you guys. You guys do install a lot of access control, like you were saying. But ultimately, why is PDK the manufacturer that you guys really choose to work with?
So one of the reasons why we came over to PDK, and I didn't know this, I had to reach out to Clint about it because it's not really spoken about too much. It's just we just know that PDK is one of the brands that we sell, and we do it because it always works, and we have a huge, tremendous amount of support from PDK. But I didn't know this, but apparently Jeff and Josh Perry, the founders of PDK, had approached Clint, brought him donuts every once in a while to kind of sweeten the incentive to come out and visit the location out here in South Salt Lake and to come learn more about the PDK platform. Well, Clint took him up on it one day and came out, and Josh and Jeff showed him around the facility and explained to him that the on-premise server was no longer going to be needed for access control. And so Clint got really excited about that because that's a challenge, having an on-premise server. And then he looked at it also as a humongous RMR opportunity. And so apropos. And so anyway, we that's where we've come from, and the support and the service has just been phenomenal. And you guys, Jeff and Josh, stood behind the product back then, and you guys do that today. And that's one of the reasons why we're so excited to be here today, and also excited to be a vendor, or have PDK be a vendor for Peak Alarm.
Well, we appreciate that. Marshall, what's your experience like working with Peak?
I mean, it's the best, right? They've got a huge team, so there's constant things that can be done, right? But they've got really, really good sales guys. They've got amazing installers. It's just, at this point, going over there, it's just fun, right? Just kind of hanging out with the boys really is what it ends up feeling like. So
he is our best rep.
Yeah,
hands down,
good.
bar none. I ask my guys all the time, and they're like, "Oh yeah, it's Marshall."
We've heard good reviews too.
You can pay me after.
No,
Where's Marshall taking you to lunch?
Yeah, exactly right.
Wherever you want. No, like I said, they're a great operation. They got a lot of good things going for them, and I mean, let's be real. Their name in the state of Utah has weight to it, right?
It does.
People know who you are. You've got your signs, all over the place in a bunch of different buildings and stuff like that too. So there's obviously that draw as well with the backing of what Peak has and what they can do.
Yeah. Jerry Howe, he's an amazing man, and it's his customer first attitude that it permeates every part of every employee that works for Peak. And it's not just employees. I mean, so it's like a family.
Yeah.
It really is.
It's amazing what happens when you have that, customer first mentality.
Yeah, it is.
And what really that can do for a company, right? That's one of our big core values that you'll hear us talk about all the time. Partner fanatics.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm just a broken record every time I'm on this because everybody's always talking about that, but that's true.
Yeah.
When you have that, it really creates a different feel for your company and ultimately develops that trust that customers are looking for.
Yeah. Well, PDK is so customer focused that you guys pay attention to little details that if we have an issue with something, then you listen to us, you fix the problem, and you move on. Same thing with Peak. If we have customers that have issues, we focus on those issues, and we make sure that we don't do it next time.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
You mentioned a little bit ago that one of the big reasons why Peak has been going with PDK is because the on-site server is going away.
Yes.
And you're using it as a recurring revenue stream.
Sure.
Right? Being able to build your business that way.
Sure.
I assume that's a big reason why you guys have your own central station as well.
It is.
So talk to me a little bit about how having all these recurring charges and all this RMR has ultimately helped you guys to grow Peak into what it is today.
Well, so for starters, Peak is a RMR service, monthly service fee oriented company, fee for service company. So and that model is interesting to me because I come from a different background. I come from a background where it's audio video and you install it and it's finished, right? And so I had to learn that RMR mentality, and it's amazing when you look at the RMR opportunities that come along with access control. There's just so many components to it that you can add that it makes it so beneficial to keep that moving forward on a regular basis. The recurring revenue model, we have systems that we put in sometimes that don't have RMR associated with it, but by and large, our model is such that we try to attach some sort of recurring revenue to anything we do, whether it be for a repair agreement so that we always have the ability to go out and service somebody's account or work on somebody's system and warranty it, provide a full service warranty to that system without even having to charge the customer any additional charges. That speaks volume for a lot of people. A lot of people, all they want to do is they want to take a key fob or their phone and put it up to a reader and have it work. And when that doesn't happen, the first thing they think of is, oh, it's going to cost me. Well, if we can eliminate that and just get that done, and I'm going to call Peak, they'll take care of it. That's what we want to have.
That's a big change in mentality there, right? If you can make sure that they understand that with these maintenance agreements or whatever contracts that they have assigned with you guys, that helps take care of any problems or any troubleshooting that might have to happen.
Yes.
That's like just a sense of security and a peace of mind there for the customer, right? That goes a long ways.
It does. The peace of mind does go a long way.
Yeah. So when you guys are building out contracts and building out these RMR packages, how do you go about building out the perfect package for a customer and ultimately makes it something that they are willing to purchase from you guys?
So when we look at systems, we'll take a look at the customer's needs first and foremost. If you take that system and you develop it to address head-on those needs and what they're looking for, you're going to find success in that. One of the biggest things that my father taught me, and he's a great salesperson, he taught me that if you take away the people's pains, that's where you're going to find greater success in your sales. And so everything that you look at when it comes to building a system, you address those right first and foremost.
Yeah.
And once you've dealt with that, then you get into the wants, and that's when things start to get a little more fun. Telling people that they can jump online and administer a system, or even do it from their phone from another state away, add a user, take a user out, or whatever. Even on a burglary system, you could change a code, right? So any of that stuff that can be done is going to be a benefit to the customer, and they see that, and they acknowledge that, and that becomes a selling point for them. They start to sell it to themselves at that point. Okay, I need to have this because of that reason. As far as the actual calculations go, we use a calculator, a revenue calculator, and without getting into a lot of minute details of how that works, we have a payback period that allows us to actually have some of the system subsidized in a way that system can be that down payment can be brought down a little bit by having the revenue of the system take care of that over time. The longer the term of the contract, the better the deal is, so to speak. With the caveat that we don't go beyond a 3-year agreement. We want to keep that at the most. But that tool that we have, we call it a job cost form. Basically, it allows us to put all the aspects of the job into that form and determine a margin. It also allows us to determine the payback period, and it also allows us to determine commissions and everything else that go along with that. And if all of those fit the minimums of where we need to be and they're above those minimums, then we can start to develop a system that, one, meets the customer's needs and wants, right? That's the first part of it. And part of those needs is it's got to be able to fit into some sort of a budget, right? And so that form and that calculator allows us to have some flexibility, but also allows us to build systems that are exciting, that take care of those customer needs and wants, and allows them to afford it.
That is so cool. Marshall, is that pretty similar to other people in your territory that you're seeing and how they go about building RMR?
I think it would depend on how experienced they are in it. Like, that's the one thing that Peace got going for them, right? And why PDK was such a great option for them originally was because they've had that model with the alarms for so long. There's a lot of partners out there that just don't understand RMR in general. Yeah. Right? And so I would say it's pretty far from what the majority of them are doing, right? They don't have that understanding. They're not doing it that well. And you know, I think that, especially talking about RMR, we always need to talk. There's one thing that Dalen says all the time that makes so much sense in my mind, and is if you're going to issue something that's going to have a reoccurring cost, it's got to have a reoccurring value. Right?
Absolutely, 100%.
And we truly believe that that's what PDK brings, right? With the ability to access your system from wherever you're at, and the ability to have automatic system updates, right? And all these other things that PDK offers. The same thing goes on the dealer end as well, right? And that's exactly what Daren was just highlighting, right? And making sure that all the wants and needs from the customer are taken care of, the pains are removed, right? Being able to be there to fix something when it breaks, whatever. That's the reoccurring value that they get, and that's why they pay that reoccurring cost. A lot of dealers right now are still trying to figure out what that looks like or what that means. And where they can get themselves in a little bit of trouble is they see the reoccurring opportunity as just it's the dollar amount, right? Which obviously is a big part, but that's not. If you're only focused on that, you're going to lose it somewhere with your sales, right? You've got to be focused on, okay, what is that reoccurring value that I can offer so that my reoccurring cost makes sense. Yes. Right? And so that the customer continues to want to pay that, or at least sees the value in what that ends up being. So, I would say that what Peak's got going on is different than what most people do, and I think a lot of it goes back to, their experience with RMR in the first place. Yeah. But having the idea and the mentality behind, everything that Daren was just saying, I think helps it so that they can be that name in the state of Utah that carries the weight that they do.
Well, not only is it that name and being able to carry that weight, right? I mean, you guys have been able to build this business based on just RMR as like the main idea behind what gets you guys by and what gets everything going. And not only is that big for your bottom dollar, that's huge for like a multiplier in the valuation of the company as well.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, whenever you're looking at a valuation of a company, if you got a good RMR stream, man, you can get a high 40x on the valuation of that company. That's a big deal.
In addition to the higher RMR, and obviously we're trying to our goal right now as a company is to hit $1 million in RMR.
Yeah.
If the day that I can't wait for that day. That's going to be a fantastic day. We're relatively close, and that relatively is a strong word, but that's the goal that's in sight right now is $1 million in RMR, and I'm really excited about hitting that. But all things considered, that does help with the value of the company. It does help when we go to borrow money or whatever we might need to expand, and it is a huge valuation potential for the valuation calculator for the company.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right, let's shift gears. Last
right.
topic that I want to talk about. I want to hear about an installation that Peak Alarm has recently done.
An installation. Okay. Well, so one of the more recent installations, and Marshall, you probably have a few words to say about this, is we're working on wrapping up a system right now for a school district.
Okay.
That school district has 1,000 users. They have about 250 doors, I want to say.
Yeah, total 250 doors.
And we have about 13 different buildings. That's the one that comes to mind. And maybe you've got something to say about that. But I know that they are excited about moving away from their server on-premise situation. They were having this particular vendor that we're talking about, and no names mentioned because it's not my style to rag on any one vendor.
As we shouldn't.
Has been super difficult to work with lately. And so it's a good thing that we're moving away from that. And they're so excited about the potential of moving away from that server on-premise and that system that they're currently with to move to something that is more centrally located. It's easier to use by far and a lot less volatile as well than that current system. And that's the one that comes to mind right off the get-go. I don't know if you want to say a few words about that.
Yeah, I mean, overall, it was an amazing project, just overall. But I ended up finding out literally a couple days ago that it's a school district that has experienced some pretty scary things in the past, which is not something that I knew when we sold the job, right? So they've, we often talk about the capabilities of the system and what you can do when certain situations arise. Well, it's amplified with these guys because it's like, hey, we've experienced it and we know firsthand what it is. We've got to do everything we can to make sure that it doesn't happen again.
Yeah.
And if it does, what can we do, right? And so, overall, just an amazing project. I think PDK is going to be the perfect fit for what they need. At the end of the day, we talk about it all the time. We're protecting life and property. And in this instance, it's life, right?
Yeah.
We're protecting life of kids for parents and families and stuff like that. And it's a very cool thing to be behind. As far as that's concerned,
it is really cool when you think about the impact that we're all having on society and communities and families when you actually break it all down.
Yeah, exactly. When other organizations, some other organizations that we work with are homeowners associations. Yeah. Especially in the Dixie, St. George area. We have a gentleman down there, John. He's one of our greatest salespeople. He's down there selling HOA systems all the time, gate control and gate access.
The guy who's the guy who's finishing my basement right now, he's got a summer home, or I guess it's just a second home down there in St. George. He's got PDK in the community. It's probably you guys' project.
It might be.
If I knew what the property was called,
I can confirm it. At this point, I can neither confirm nor deny. But down the road, you never know.
He kills it down there.
Yeah, John's really good. But, we also work with just the standard fare, the commercial, the residential on occasion, and the workplace aspect of it is massive for us. We have such a wide range of clients who we work with that it's always kind of a challenge to put your mind around what they're doing next. Yeah. I was amazed to learn about the guy. I don't remember his name off the top of my head, but he was on an earlier podcast. he brought up the storage units, and,
Yeah.
and that was pretty interesting to find out too. I know we have done some storage units, but it's been more at the general access level and not the individual unit level. So that'll be interesting to see where we go with that.
Yeah, well, we're actually flying out. I fly out in a couple of weeks to go do a full-on case study with a full storage center.
That's great.
So I'm excited to go out and do that. It'll be a
Yeah.
fun project. But yeah, storage is actually a pretty big access environment.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Well, thank you a ton for taking the time to
thank
come
you for
drive down
having
here
me.
and jump on. It's been awesome. We were saying it at the beginning that your radio voice is amazing, and you don't even have a face for radio either.
Oh, that's
so
good.
That's going to be great as well. So if you're watching this on
family would probably
YouTube,
disagree.
there you go. But if you are listening to it, yeah, that's great. But anyways, thanks a ton for taking the
thank
time
you.
to come and jump on. Marshall,
Yeah.
you as well.
Always,
you guys
man.
you guys are fantastic, and we really appreciate the partnership that we
Oh,
have.
yeah,
with
we
Peak.
appreciate it as well. Thank you
Awesome.
so much.
Well, for those of you who have not already done so, be sure to subscribe to this podcast, give it a 5-star rating, and let us know if there's any particular topics that you want to learn about, and we'll be sure to add that to an upcoming episode. But thank you guys a ton for tuning in to this week's episode. We will see you next time.